Okay, so we're here for episode 2 of Making Enough Podcast, and this episode is called The Crash Out.
We're crashing out today.
Today is gonna be a day, okay? And it's gonna be a good day.
It's already been a day.
It's already been a day.
I almost crashed out on the way to the episode.
Okay, so first of all, being moms, we live 3 days before noon anyway.
Yeah.
But today, first of all, we're in a new space. Shout out to you, Mo, because this place is phenomenal.
Thank you. There's boxes out of the scenes that you guys can't see. There's a Charlie Brown Christmas tree in the corner that my son just had to put up, that we're not going to put on camera. We don't want record of that. But I'm just really happy and grateful to be here in this new space.
I'm just super proud of you. That the space is beautiful and it really does speak to you. I can see you making so much content here.
Thank
and just
you.
Being very successful here. So how do you feel in your new space?
I feel really light, and first of all, the energetic weight of the rent is lighter.
Yeah.
So my last place, number one, we didn't negotiate the place, and that's not like me. I negotiate everything. Like I literally negotiate what vaccines my child is going to get. So there is like never a time that I haven't negotiated. So I had a lot of shame in my old apartment because shame comes from when we make decisions from a place of not feeling good about it. Mm-hmm. And then we feel stuck and frozen. So it was like an aesthetically pleasing place. It was beautiful, but I was frozen there because there was so much trauma that took place there. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, now that we're into it, let's get into it.
Yes.
We're here now. So,
okay.
Let me just state a few things for clarity. Okay. So this podcast is about Mo and I's journey, our journey through womanhood, motherhood, our careers, nursing, and also through romance, okay? So this is in no way a podcast that is going to be a discourse about men versus women and or about man bashing. We just date men. And we're going to talk about our experiences, and we're going to also hold each other accountable for the choices that we've made and some of the things that we have done to get in some of the positions that we have gotten in, okay?
I would also like to note that as a 36-year-old single mother, I have zero agency to give any of you relationship advice. However, going through some of the shit that I've gone through, I only feel like I'm going through this to share it with other people so that they don't live the same mistakes.
Okay.
Cue the crash out.
I'm crashing out tonight. I'm getting tired of my baby mom. Y'all think I'm fucking the bitch still? You fucking niggas that calling me simps after I'm taking care of you. I'm crashing out tonight. I'm crashing out tonight. Something happening tonight. Somebody dying tonight, bitch. I'm coming right to that motherfucking job. I'm coming right to South Philly. I'm coming right to Northern Liberties. Something happening tonight, bitch. And you rap.
What's most concerning about that was at the time that I listened to this in real time, we had been broken up for over a month. I was working at a psych facility with 13 aggressive male patients. I was working at a psych facility with 13 aggressive men that were all like, I was in charge of their care. And this person, who I formerly dated, was the most unmanageable. So, yeah. And it didn't stop there. It started with threats to my son.
Okay, wait, start from the beginning. Let's start from the beginning. Okay, so because we're not just going to lay the crash out and then like I need some more. Okay, because I've heard this before, but I don't know. It's like it's different, traumatizing now. I don't know. Start from the beginning.
Whew. Well, first of all, in preparing for this episode, I had to listen to this like 28 times because we were trying to change the voice. And I really struggled with that because I was like, why should I be going through all of this to change the voice and the tone of somebody who put my life and threatened my child and put my life at risk?
Protecting him, basically.
And protecting his identity when during that time period of all that going on, I didn't go to, like, I didn't contact his children's school. I didn't contact his job. I didn't, like, publicly make a statement about him. I just went on about my day and acted like it wasn't happening, as women do all over the world, and showed up and went to work and took care of my kid and all the things. So let's not make me an angel in this situation. Mm-hmm. Like, let's go all the way back.
Right.
So when I met him, I was broke financially. I was in a place of really bad lack. I was not where I wanted to be financially. I wasn't living where I wanted to live. I felt like a sense of lack as a single mom, and I felt like I needed a partner to complete my family. Not I wanted, I needed someone to come in and fix my family. And I remember I moved back to the States, and everyone just kind of put this projection of me like, hey, you know, you're a single mom now, you're broke, you're on welfare, and you're gonna have to figure something out. And I remember I started writing my book because that was what I was gonna figure out. And I ran into a little brother, actually with Sheed, one night, and me and him met up, and I was telling him about my book, and you know, me and this person just started. Let's call him the Mini Knight.
No.
That's what he's called in my book.
Who made up that? You made up that name?
I did. Do you like it?
I just love it. Like, I love it, but I
have to laugh at my pain, but let's call him the Mini Knight.
Okay.
That's his name in my book.
The Mini Knight is hilarious.
It's actually really intentional because he was not that tall.
Yeah.
And he was a knight. Like, he came in my life to fix and save and do all the things.
All right.
I understand. I'm a lyricist.
Okay.
Like, don't play with me.
All right.
So I ran into my little brother. We'll call him by his name, Brennan. Okay. And this is someone who I like mentored, guided, and throughout my life and my college years. And he said to me, yeah, I understand you have your book, but like, you got to wait until you get like the family and like the happy ending. And that weighed on me. And like, when I heard that, I thought like, nobody's really going to want to hear what a single mom has to say until she gets her happy ending. And from the moment I met him, he was here to fix. And I really needed that, and I wanted that. And that was the story I've seen in Disney. You know, that was the story that I saw growing up. That's what I saw from my mom and my dad in the beginning. My mom was a single mother, and she had my brother, and she was with him, and he really helped her provide, and like changed her life, moved to the suburbs. I blocked out the part about her packing up her shit and leaving it in the middle of the night, you know, but like our memory allows us to what it was. But I mean, the Mini Knight showed up in September, and I'll be very real, I did not like him.
You didn't like him a little bit?
I like how he treated me.
Okay.
So it's a difference. So you need to like someone at their core, who they are. It's liking someone, because a lot of women out there like someone for who they are, how they show up in the world, their swag, their air, like how they command a room. But those are the ones that often treat them bad, right?
Right.
But then there are people who you like how they treat you. So the goal is I like you and how you show up in the world, and I like how you treat me, coupled together, right? Because there's so many women out there on the other side. And I'd been on the other side of, I like him, oh my gosh. And I was like, nah, I'm going to go for I like how he treat me.
Right. Because you be wanting something different. Let's keep it real. Let's keep it real.
I did. And honestly, it was refreshing to see someone who appeared to be very financially stable, present for his kids, very present for his kids, a very active father. Very dedicated father. Yeah. And it seemed like he had like this great relationship with the child's mom, and also wanting to come in and help me as a new mom. And this man studied me. Like, he knew everything I needed. And it was like it was basically like the dangers of dating from a place of lack. I remember being in church when I was 28, and Pastor Tereg in LA. Sarah Jakes' husband. Okay. Right? Said, this was before Sarah Jakes was Sarah Jakes, right? So he says, when you are starving, even the sourest things will taste sweet. And I was starving. And I really had all the tools that I needed inside of me. I had everything. I still had my Instagram following. I had a good job when we met. I was working in home care, but I hated it. And he came in and was like, oh, I can fix that. I can fix that. I can fix that. And and I went for it because I needed a break.
Okay. I mean, I think that when we talk about dating from a place of lack, just keep in mind that lack can mean any lack. Lack can mean like financial lack, yes, but lack can also mean like loneliness. You know, lack can also mean like she wanted like the family dynamic, like you just want somebody else to do this shit with. You know what I'm saying? Lack can also mean like your mental space, like where are you lacking in your mental? And I think that as women, we go through ups and downs of that because we consistently have our own mini crash outs in our head from people that we have dated out of lack for other reasons. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I've crashed out many a times for dating a motherfucker for love. You know what I'm
me
saying?
too.
I did, and
prior to that, I was dating for love.
And crashing the fuck
and
out.
And crashing out. I was.
So the first time, and guess what? Most of the time that I've crashed out has been experiences where I was like, I knew better. And I should not have been here.
I would like to say that in my life, I never dated for financial gain or stability. Like, I'm a lover girl to the absolute max. And like, my point of view was always marry someone funny and make your own money. You get what I mean?
Okay.
And when I had my son, his father and I were 50-50 partners. And I never understood what it was to be a princess. I always knew what it was to be a partner. And the internet made being a princess seem so enticing. I mean, I see girls opening Chanel bags and like going on all these trips. And I'm like, wow, like, you know, I'm a baddie. I can have that too. Like, why wouldn't that be me? And, you know, it really shifted my point of view and wanting to be a princess versus, I mean, look back at our stories, right, of Beauty and the Beast. Belle was a prisoner. Belle's father sold her, like gave her in captivity, right, to the Beast. And he was a beast. You get what I mean? And she fell in love with someone who essentially enslaved her. So we glorify that like our whole lives, you know, and those aren't realizations I had until late 30s, you know. But this was the first time in my life where I was like, I needed this person. He came and rescued me, and I wanted a shortcut. I really did. I was exhausted.
So when did it change from princess treatment, come save me, to crash out?
Okay, so let's start with the good stuff, right?
Okay, the good.
Because there's good stuff. So when I met him, my life wasn't very chaotic, right? I lived on 42nd and Brown in a boarded up house. I lived on the 3rd floor, and it was nice. Like, I liked it. You know what I mean? It was $1,500 a month, and everything was covered. Like, all my expenses. I had big flat screen TVs. I was picking up a mouse off the trap every day, and that was like, ugh, you know. But I'm from the jungle. I lived in the jungle. Like, that's light work.
Nothing.
I made friends with all my neighbors. You know, I'm packing. You know, in my purse. So I felt safe there, and it was fine. And when he came around, it was like, you shouldn't be living here. Like, you're too good to be living here. And, you know, it felt like my urgency was like a little bit more. But I was already kind of in an urgent place because it was literally this time last year, right? It was the holidays were coming. My son's birthday was coming up. We lived in 500 square feet. And I was like, this is expired. Like, it's time for something new. I had a good job at working in home care. You remember that job. I was tired of it because it just wasn't sustainable. Like, I'm gonna be not humble for a second. I'm an influencer with 100,000 followers. There ain't no reason I should be changing ass wounds on Kensington and Allegheny. Like, it just is not. So it just, you know what I mean? It was not the role but I did what I had to do to get where I needed to go.
You needed a job and you had a job.
And I needed a job and I had a job. So when I met him, I manifested him, like, in real time. I said, I'm looking for a partner that I can be on separate goals with the same vision, da-da-da-da. I met him, and in September, felt like, I don't know, but the dates were really intentional. Let's go to the spa so you can get the night off. I'll pay for the sitter. I'll cover the housekeeper, really taking the role off of me. If I'm like, I can't come tonight because it's Sunday and I have to clean, find a housekeeper. I'll pay for her. Find a sitter. I'll pay for the sitter. Find this. And like, I was like, okay, well, this is really amazing. And men in my life were like, he's paying and buying for your time. And I was like, y'all are haters, right? I was like, he's simping, whatever. Y'all are haters. This is how a man shows up. And I don't think that either of us were wrong. So it started with that. And then I would say, like, I don't want to blame him for this, but it felt like more chaos took place, and the need for him took place, if that makes sense. Like, it felt like things were going smoothly, but they were slowly going up. And when he came around, it was like a lot more need for him. And I'll explain. So I had found a place in Brewery Town, right around the corner or whatever. And it was a great place. And then I showed it to him, and he didn't like it because the bedrooms were in the basement, and he was right, like, at the end of the day. But turns out that place was doing construction that they didn't tell me about. My son has really bad allergies. So I had to get out of that lease, and they kept $5,000 of my dollars and held it for 3 months. And that caused chaos. Basically, more situations happened that I needed saving. Out of nowhere, I had 3 flat tires. And then the next day, I had 2 flat tires. So what was that about? You get what I mean? And financial, like, chaos just started taking place over and over again where he would just get me out of it. So finally, he found me. Like, we were at a place where I was like, oh, my God, my lease, like, I had a sweet situation with my boarded up house in West Philly, my 500 square feet, my sanctuary. I loved it there, but we had outgrown it. He was like, the other place I was supposed to move to fell through, and he made me feel like it wasn't good enough anyway, you know? And he found me a place. I love the place, but I wanted a little bit smaller place. And I think you remember this time. It was in a building in Northern Liberties, and the rent was really high. And I loved the place, but it was unnecessary. It was big, grandiose, and that's how everything was. And I was like, I don't think we need a balcony that wraps all the way around in a panoramic view. Maybe we can just get a 1-bedroom with a den, and I could put a gate on Soul's room. And he's like, man, you want this. Think about the content you're going to make here. Think about this. And I came to all of my friends and family members, and I was just like, you know, do you think that I could do this? And they were like, what was your response?
Fuck no. You already knew what I said. I said, girl, get you something that you can afford because these men come and go.
And keep in mind, I've never been in like, I have made my own money since I was 15.
Well, also, you were consistently in a place of transition for the last few years.
Yeah.
There wasn't anywhere that you were still for more than like a year and a half.
But can I explain that it's always been around a man?
True, but it just felt like this transition was going to be one that was more reliant on him.
Yeah.
In a way that is unhealthy because then you need somebody that you don't even know the ins and outs of.
Yeah, and
you know
I think
mean?
one of the things that puts me in a worse spot than other people, like hence getting stuck in because you have to take accountability somewhere. Like being in the jungle with a baby, right? Being in a $3,500 a month plus parking apartment with a kid as a single mom.
Right.
I put myself in these situations because I know that I have the ability to get out of them. Does that make sense?
Right.
So it's like, yeah, I'll be all right, but it's like unnecessary trauma to put on myself.
Right.
And so that is something that I fully take accountability for, is like living beyond my means, saying that, okay, this is just a push to get me where I need to go. And I know that if something doesn't work out, that I'll be able to get myself out of it, which by the grace of God I did. But who the fuck want to go through that? So I've had enough of it. You know what I mean? Okay, so the gestures look like the day that I move in, I got a $5,000 Cash App and 500 roses and 100 pair of socks. Love that for me. The next day, he showed up with a cart, moved all my stuff, like all five of them. Moved all my stuff, like everything, moved everything.
No, but the day you actually, like y'all first situation when y'all was at the, what hotel was it? With the spa?
The Four Seasons.
Yes. It turned up.
Yeah.
Like, even, like, I just, like, from the very beginning, he was like, I'm going to give you whatever you want. And
I didn't want it.
No, but he knew, though. He studied you.
Yeah.
So it wasn't about what you said you wanted. He was showing up in ways that he knew that you would fall for. Put it like that.
And it was really refreshing because if you've followed any of my journey on I Am Nurse Mo, like I keep all of my content up. I'm not like a person that like rebrands and puts everything dark. I really like for y'all to see the process. And when I lived in LA, like I was really a spa girl. Well, not even when I lived in LA. Throughout the trajectory of my experience, like I've been a spa girly. Like I treat myself to like the nicest things. I fly myself to Bali, like all these different things. And I really value luxury and comfort. And over the last 2 years as a new mom, I really wasn't able to give myself that.
Right.
You know, I was, but I had turned
Not in that way.
Not in that way.
Yeah.
I wasn't. Because one of my followers recently said, I love how you keep it a buck about your finance. Because I moved and I was like, y'all, I ain't got no money left. Because I keep it a buck with people about like my financial situation as like a mom. Because on Instagram, everyone's rich. Yeah. And like, you go through like you've been broke before?
Girl, today.
You've been broke before? Okay. So like today, and I believe that abundance is having what you need when you need it. And like getting more and more clear to that. Like today, I have enough to pay Sheed. Love that for me. You get what I mean? I had enough to pay for Soul School. Love that for me.
Right.
And sometimes it's just not always a lie. And y'all be like, you need a 401k and it. And I feel you. But also, life be lifing.
I mean, and it also is all about like what your lack is.
Yeah.
For me, what's broke is not necessarily what's broke for you. You know what I mean? Because these bills be battling me. I'm the God's strongest soldier. Okay, He teaches me every month. Okay, He teaches me every month that I am His. God, can we have prayer right now?
We will.
For the way that you drag me every single month. So my broke looks like I'm scared to death because of situations that I've been through. And just like you said, in terms of lack, like when I was younger, me and my mom and my sister we didn't have any money. You know what I mean? There was times when we were in shelters. So for me, sometimes what broke looks like is scary. If I got less than a certain amount, even though I'm not broke, I'm still scared because I'm like, I can't go back to what I've been through. So that's what I mean by coming from a place of lack, because no matter where you are, when you're a mother, finances just look different.
Yeah, they just look different.
They just look different. Them numbers be numbering.
Yeah, they be numbering. So, okay, so it looked like that. It looked like going to Miami and renting out a 10-bedroom home when there were only 2 of us there. And that the Miami trip was when I would say the red flags were like, they were always there. But when we can go back to that, but the red flags were like, oh, I can't look away from this anymore. I want to upgrade to first class. And it's like, why? You know what I mean? It would be like, get the biggest, the best. Or it would be like, hey, I have a connection for this. Let's use that. No, I don't want to use your connection. I got my own money. That's what it would look like. So that's what, but the gestures also looked like getting my son brand new clothes and shoes for school. You know what I mean? It also looked like getting him an iPad and setting it up and kid-proofing it. It also looked like building all my furniture. So it was like he was very much showing up and very much like, and he promised that he delivered. I mean, promised, it was like very much coming through for the first 95 days. Put these guys on and girls on a time frame. First 95 days.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's when you felt like he did show up as he said he would, was for the first 95 days.
Well, I would say it was from September till about May.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then what was the shift? Like, what was the shift, and when did you be like, oh, bitch? Because I remember where the shift looked like from my end.
Okay, so we can talk about both. So,
I'm saying from outside looking in, watching you, I can tell where like there was like a little bit of a shift.
Can you tell me where it was? Because it's hard for me to pinpoint, because there was so I'm going to be real. There's a lot of people out there that are going to say that they never saw something when they deal with someone like this.
Oh, yeah.
And I saw it from day one, but
Yeah.
I ignored it because it benefited me, because
Yeah.
the bills was getting paid. The big bills was getting paid. The gifts was coming in. The love was loving.
Yeah.
And the flowers was showing up. The gifts, the date. We had a date night planned every week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I had a steady sitter. I had things that I deeply desired. So the first red flag, first thing I would say I noticed was it was cold. It was like winter, like February. No, Christmas, right around Christmas. So we're dating September. Christmas rolled around, and I don't really drink. You've known that about me forever. And I've also like intentionally sober dated throughout my late 20s and 30s, because in my 20s, I felt like people would get stuff from me that they weren't supposed to get from me because of alcohol, right? You know what stuff I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
I know what
you
you're
know.
talking about. The sauce.
This stuff. Okay. So, I stopped really, like, my previous partners were all sober. Like, we all were sober dating. You know, we have a little, but we were not alcohol. And alcohol is a big deal for me.
Okay.
And the first thing that I always had was a sober household. Like, I never carried hard alcohol in my home, maybe wine at maximum. And I bent that for him and allowed tequila in my home. And that's a big deal to me, because my sister was an alcoholic. She's been sober and clean for over 20 years. Like,
Nice.
Well done her. I think even longer than that, like 30 or 25 years. She was a mess, and now she's like the bomb.
Okay.
My dad was an alcoholic as well, and I grew up going to like Al-Anon meetings and all that stuff, and I brought up his drinking, and I said to him, I think you have a drinking problem. And it wasn't that he drank a lot, it's just that he would black out when he drank.
Control when he drank.
It wasn't really out of control, it was just like he would disassociate,
Okay.
and it would get really scary.
Okay.
Because it would be like he was not talking to me. he was talking to someone else, and it was not me. And so the first time I brought it up, so the first thing was I have a crazy baby mama, and I told him I don't believe anybody to say he got a crazy baby mama because I'm somebody crazy baby mama. Let my baby daddy.
Let it be very clear to the people in the back. To the people in the back, let it be very clear. Number one red flag is if somebody start telling you that their baby mom is crazy. That is a number one red flag because she, in fact, may be crazy. I didn't say that she wasn't, but what made her crazy? That's number one. Hold on. And then number two, you always got to think about the fact of what is the underlying story. What is the underlying story? Because most of the time they both crazy. Most of the time it was just a crazy situation. It was toxic, but it just never pans out the way that I know a lot of niggas. I know about one crazy baby mom. About one.
I don't know any.
I know one.
I don't know any.
I know one. And guess what? Even that one, I give it to you. Go ahead, sis. Go on.
I don't know. I don't know that many crazy baby moms, but I do know a lot of bitter baby moms, and I do know a lot of bitter baby dads. So my child's father and I don't have that. Like, we don't. Like, he does not help me. He's just started to. Like, recently. He just started that. But, we are two peaceful motherfuckers. Like, we be like, our idea of arguing is like, be blessed. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's never.
I hate motherfuckers that argue like that.
We do. Like, we argue. Like, we don't really argue, but we've never called each other like bitches and dickheads and like.
Oh yeah, no.
Like, we've never done that.
No.
Like, it's just not a thing, and we've never regretted our children, like our kid. And I don't regret my kid, and I never would. I planned my child with this. I planned my child with a hotep. I knew what I was doing.
Right.
So I'm dealing with the result of planning my child with this man. So I live with that, and I accept that. And I hope that one day it changes. But in the meantime, holding hate in my heart for him is unproductive.
Right.
So needless to say, he's probably somewhere calling me a crazy baby mom. Probably saying I don't let him see his daughter.
That's why I said it. Don't be real.
So the crazy baby mom was a triangular thing that I noticed. Like, I have a child by a narcissistic man, a man diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder. And due to my chronically low self-esteem that I struggle with, I attract narcissistic men. It's just, I'm their food. Okay. They love it. You know what I mean? So narcissistic men tend to create a love triangle between three. So I was like, okay, this is giving that. I'm just going to note it. So he kept bringing her up. That was red flag one. And I'm the very public figure. I work at a public med spa. If she was crazy, she would be coming to me as a woman, as my DM. If she was crazy, she'd be in my chair booking a laser hair removal treatment or Botox.
She wasn't giving crazy.
She was never giving crazy. So I was like, all right, closeted that over there. So he kept wanting to bring third parties into this situation to validate that she was crazy. And I'm like, you are going to show me everything I need to know about what that relationship is like.
And why are you trying so hard to prove to me that somebody is crazy?
So he brings this woman around for us to go to dinner with, and we go to Steak 48, right? And the girl is obviously around because he spends the coin, and it's a female friend. The girl's slurping oysters and sucking down espresso martinis. It was just like, ugh, you raggedy ass hoe. And I hope you watching this. But what I said, right? So, because I'm mad at her because he needed real friends. Like, this man needed real friends, not friends like this. You get what I mean? And she says to him, many night, I'm so happy. He brings her around to validate for the situation with his child's mom. Okay. And she's like, his baby mom is crazy. And she goes, many night, I'm so happy that you aren't drinking as much anymore. Ooh. You look so good. She seems to be bringing out the best in you. And I was on a cleanse at that point. You know, I love a fast. I'm on day 38 of my fast right now, of my 100-day fast. And I was like, I'm going to have to talk to him about this. Yeah. So that was phase one.
Okay, so can I say what mine was?
Yeah.
I think that, so first of all...
No, that wasn't, that was the start.
Yeah, but I'm saying when the start was for me, okay. When I noticed that something was going on with you, right? First of all, just throwing it out there, I'm divorced, right? And I talk about this all the time with friends, is that I did get to a point with my friends where I couldn't necessarily keep talking about it, because sometimes when you're going through something, like, it's really, really, really hard to talk about things, and you know that you're getting on your friends' nerves. They be like, girl, leave the nigga or shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? It's so hard. You gotta have that one person that's gonna let you keep talking and that's gonna let you keep venting, because eventually they will find a way out. But if you let them suffer in silence and they can't talk about anything, then it's hard for them. So as a friend, no matter what you're going through, my vibe is always to come hither. You know what I mean? Come hither. Come bring it on me. Come talk to me about it. I'm going to hold you accountable. I'm going to tell you, some ways where I feel like you tripping. But at the same time, I'm always going to try my best to be a listening ear, even if I'm telling you, bitch, stop fucking talking to me about this nut ass nigga. This is what we about to do. Even if I'm giving you a plan. Even if I'm giving you a plan, we still gonna talk about it though. I'm never gonna shut you out. So the day that I remember the situation, I forget where we went, but all I remember was when you were in the car with me. This is just, don't trip, okay? But I heard what you were saying to me. I knew there was more to the story. And when I can tell that someone is not giving me the full story, that's when I know that you're with a narcissist and you're embarrassed to tell me the full story.
Okay.
And when that happened, I said, ooh.
What happened? Was it? I mean, get it to you.
I don't remember exactly what you told me, but you were telling me about something that happened with him, and you were telling me the way that he talks to you. And the way
was this the night where I was like, I'm fed up, bitch. I
think so. We were in a car and we were coming from somewhere, and I dropped you off. And I just remember you sitting on my driver's side. You were wearing that pink outfit. You were sitting in a car with me. Were you wearing pink?
No, I was wearing green. But that was way after. That was
but that's when I knew that it was deeper than, because let's be really clear. When you're dating somebody, everybody got flaws.
Exactly.
Not your first, second, or third flaw. Do you be like, we be acting like, oh, she should have known. I hate when people be like, if that couldn't have been me, bitch, it is you. Don't
right.
tell me, bitch, it could never be me. We all have been there.
Bitch, you never had nobody sending 5,000, 10,000, 15,000, 20,000 to your account.
Hello? So don't tell me, oh, bitch, it could never be me, because bitch, it's not you. That's number one. Number two, you made different mistakes. And everybody makes, if you're going to leave somebody after every little thing, you're never going to have a partner. So there are some things that you are going to have to accept, and some things that you got to have discernment for when it's going too far. So in the beginning, it was acceptance. But then the discernment had to kick in and say, okay, something ain't right. Yeah. So when you were in a car with me, I felt like your discernment was kicking in enough for you to give me I felt like there was more to the story. Like he said some crazy ass shit.
I remember that night, and I was wearing a green, I have a photographic memory. I was reading it really did me a solid in nursing school. I was wearing a green fur hoodie, no, a white leather shirt. We had went to the Good Mom, Bad Choices show.
Okay.
And those are women who I felt like myself around. You know what I mean? And that environment is who I felt like myself around. And we had just got back from Miami. And I remember because I had the like curly hair in and stuff, and I had just got back from Miami. And
no, Mo, this is when you had braids in, and you had the blonde piece.
It was blonde piece, and if you look back from Miami content, I have a photographic memory.
Oh, curly braids. You're saying.
I had
curly braids
with this color with number 30.
Got
it was
you.
1B30.
Okay, 1B30
with the curly. I had on black shiny leather pants, white furry shoes, a white top. Go to my Instagram in February.
Okay.
Oh, so this was right around Valentine's Day.
Okay.
Was when it was. And it was actually March, like right around then. But it was early March. But I'm telling you, the red flag started in December. But that night, I sat in the car and I said, bitch, this nigga talked to me crazy. And it was starting to weigh on me because...
It was the way you sat forward, like, it's crazy.
I said, a loco. It was starting to weigh on me because his moods would shift faster and faster and faster and faster, and then finally it got super fast. So the night I was I have to tell you the December story because my dumbass ignored this, right?
Okay.
Because it was Christmas and I knew I was about to get a diamond chain. I got iced the fuck out, and he got me a hamster necklace for protection. And do you know what happened? The necklace protected me.
The nigga left.
I left. So, that day, the friend says the bitch is slurping down the fucking oysters, running up the bag, running up the tab. We all know the female friend like that, right?
Yeah, we do.
The friend. So she's like, you look so much better now. So this is the woman that was supposed to validate for him, right? So after I said, hey, the drinking problem. I think you got a drinking problem. And like, I'm down to like go to therapy with you. I've been to AA before. Like, I loved it. Like, there's probably chapters nearby. Like, let's do it, you know, that kind of thing. And he said to me, I know your dad was an alcoholic. And I know your sister was an alcoholic. But that's not me. So one, it was like, you're using my family trauma to gaslight me. And then after that, he stopped being friends with that woman immediately after years of friendship. Like, cut her off. And that's when I should have fucking hit the ground running. But again, it was Christmas. I was getting iced out. My son was getting iced out. And then after that came, my brother did a show. My brother's an amazing artist. His name is Reef the Lost Cause. He's Philadelphia and East Coast legend.
Say that again?
His name is Reef the Lost Cause.
Reef the Lost Cause.
Yeah,
okay.
He's a legend. Like 3 murals in Philadelphia painted on him. And he's a very conscious rapper. And he has a song about how my dad beat the shit out of him when he was growing up. And it was the closer of the show that this mini night went to with me. And we got back. And he was drinking, and he talked to me about how I really needed to start beating soul. And this wasn't the first time he talked to me about hitting soul. The second time about talking to me about, this was the third time. And he never tried to hit soul. It just was something he would say. And he was like, his behavior is out of this world. Like, you know, it's really bad. Like, and I'm like, yeah, but like, I feel like you got beat. And you can't control your emotions. So how is he going to ever learn how to control his emotions? He's 2. You get what I mean? And if I want to pop my son, I can pop my son. But you just got here. You can't do that.
Right.
And it just felt like, wow, you're so off. You know what I mean? Like you're so like tone deaf. Because we just watched a show about my brother talking about the abuse he has suffered from his stepfather. And you are telling me that I should beat my kid. Mm-hmm. And so I told him I should beat him, and I tried to fight him.
Did you win?
He left because he was scared.
Okay.
But I went into like I know that sounds crazy, y'all, but I went into like mama bear mode of like, what the fuck is wrong with this nigga that he's obsessed with like wanting to hit my like I was like, let's square up. Like, me and you might need to square up because you keep talking about this. And who's talking? My son is asleep. Like, he sleeps. So why are you talking to me about this? So I shut down after that.
Because it wasn't like he was watching a crazy behavior. He just was like randomly bringing it up.
Yeah, it was just randomly bringing it up. And very tone deaf and very, like, just the next day, apologies came. You know, all that stuff came up. And I started putting our messages into ChatGPT.
Okay.
And when I put them into ChatGPT, they were like, you are dealing with a sociopath or a narcissist, or both. And it scared the fuck out of me. And I started to create a plan to leave. So we went to Miami for his birthday. And that's after the conversation we had. Miami, he got drunk, like very drunk. We had a really great day. And I got invited to a Mayweather party. And I used to go out with, you know, TMT back in my 20s, and I was invited to a party at Kiki on the River with like my friends, my old friends, and we're going to be able to go on a yacht and like have fun, and we're getting ready. And he's like, first of all, Miami, we rented this big house, and I was like, let's invite all your friends. None of his friends came. Luckily, none of my friends wanted to come because they knew that like Miami was like not something for me. Like they knew Bali, Costa Rica, and like, people in my life even said to me, like, these vacations you're taking are so basic for you. And it was funny because it wasn't like for me. You know what I mean? It was like his point. All the gestures were grand. And at this time, I had quit my job. He had convinced me to quit my job. Or not really he convinced me to quit my job. He told me how much money he made a year. And he told me.
You said.
And I said, I'm done. Also, I'm not gonna lie, I quit. And then my job like started like bullying me.
It just worked out.
And it just kind of worked out, and I quit my job. And I was never that kind of girl. But it was just like dealing with him was so emotionally draining that I just kind of had to like focus on being his partner. We were working on a business project where we were building something with AI, and now I have my own AI courses. How cool. But he was teaching me how to use AI tools, and gratitude for him many night for that. Like, well done, you. Yeah. He really taught me that. Like, he did teach me a lot of things. So he was teaching me he's in tech. He was teaching me all the different things with tech. And he was building me a business. That's a thing, future planning. And the business was like, I couldn't really see the LLC paperwork, or like I'm working on this, and I'm a businesswoman. So I'm like, where's the paperwork? Where's we need a lawyer, all this stuff. And it was just like, kind of like, oh, I'm working on this. And that was it. So he started paying my rent, all my rent. And he was on time with my rent. Like everything was on time. But I kind of came to him like, do we need to be doing these elaborate trips now that you're paying all the bills for me? Like maybe we should just cut back and you just take care of this so that we can get stable and I can focus on making content and doing the things I did, because I was trying to be a partner, not a princess. And everything would be, don't worry, I got you. I'm your man. I'm here now. I'm here for you. Like all of the things. And then my finances just started to get very chaotic. And I have a chapter in my book called basically the only time I've been broke in my life was when I was with a providing man. And all of my shit was declining. My credit was bad. Like it was chaotic. And he'd be like, I'll pay it late. Like we'll pay it together. I'm going to pay these bills. And I listened because he was very much, he was showing up. Like, I mean, on a Tuesday, I would get a $7,000 Apple Pay to cover my Amex bills. I had an allowance. Like it was like he was really looking out. So it wasn't like, I feel like one of the things after dealing with a narcissist is that you constantly explain yourself and over-explain yourself. So that's one of the things I'm like working on. But needless to say, the checks was clearing. And we went to Miami the night with Floyd. We're supposed to go out, and he got really drunk. And he came to me and was like, you don't really like me, so why are you pretending? Ooh. And this is a pivotal moment, because I should have said, I don't. I should have. And if I could go back, and if you're listening or watching, I should have said, I don't. Like, you deserved.
Mo, you shouldn't have said that in that moment.
Not in that.
He might have knocked you between.
I don't think he can. Still to this day, he can't beat me. Like, Mo, no, I swear to God.
You might have ended up between the washer and the dryer. Do not say to no man face.
No, I would never. I didn't say that. I was scared. Yeah. I was scared because it didn't feel like it was to me. He said, you like dark-skinned men. And I'm like, I like all flavors of men. Okay. Like, what you talking about? I've had white ones, spicy white ones, black ones. I've had all different types of partners, needless to say. And like, I got motion. And so he says, if we go to this event, are we going to see some men you used to date? And I was like, baby, listen. I am a public figure, and I was outside in my 20s. It may be. Like, you know what I mean? Right. Like, why is this a thing? I'm going with you as my date. Like, why are we doing this? And he just kind of starts crashing out and is like, I don't understand. Just tell me. Like, I know you don't, blah, 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 blah. And it was like he was dark behind here. And then he called me a name that started with a letter that was not mine. And it made me realize that he wasn't talking to me at all. And I went and slept in the other room, and we flew back the next day, and I talked to him about it, and I told him how scary it was. And of course, he apologized, flowers, gifts, like all of the things, and, telling me that it was the best birthday he ever had, and that he didn't mean to ruin it for me, and like all this stuff. And I forgave him, of course. And then after that, it was like the instances with the child's mom started becoming more and more prevalent. And I started reading into them more. So the breaking point was he sent me a picture that he was like, she's always calling the police on me. And I think that a black woman rarely is going to call the police on a black man unless she feels truly threatened. There was also a lot of discord about, like, why aren't you mad at your child's dad? Like, how come you bring up these issues with me, but you don't bring up these issues with him? And I'm like, because I left that nigga.
Right.
So, like, why would I continue? And I think that this is something for single moms to understand everywhere. Like, when you start dating, a lot of men are going to try to say, like, they're going to try to box you into a category, and women, or box you into a category of being impulsive, bringing up your past, right? And, like, my relationship with Jesus really has helped change that, because, like, literally I could be this way today and tomorrow covered in Jesus and, like, sins washed away. Like, new life. I can decide I'm not doing that anymore. I could be an addict today and tomorrow I'm no longer that. You get what I'm saying? So I just feel like for somebody to say, I know you left this person that talked to you badly, treated you in the jungle, and you lived in the forest to avoid abuse, speaking abuse, food abuse, whatever it may be. So you got to put up with what I do. Like, that is diabolical and insane.
Because nigga, I'm going to leave you too, respectfully.
Because I'm going to leave you too. But
actually,
I do
quicker.
think that this is important because I've heard it from multiple women. And the first man I ever dated told me, like, well, what do you know? You're a impulsive single mom. And I'm like, nigga, you want to fly me to Houston and move me and adopt my child and give me your last name and I'm an impulsive single. Like, you go from that to, soon as you do something this person doesn't like, now you're a single mom and now you're placed in this low vibrational category or whatever. And so I was like, listen, I don't regret my kid. I'm fine with my kid. I love my baby dad. He gave me the best gift of my life. Mm-hmm. And he's like, just admit it. Like, you say it all the time. And one day I like broke down and said, like, why did I do this? And he took that as the same and equal to, this fucking bitch, I hope she dies. I'm gonna kill this bitch. This bitch ruined my life. And he had 2 kids that were over 5 years apart. So I would just hold him accountable, like, so you made the same mistake twice. It's no longer a mistake. It's a choice. So that's what started to weigh on me big time. So by April, I was checking out and like making my plan to go and like really figuring it out, but I felt stuck. And he sent me a picture that he thought was just a still. But shout out to Apple for the live. Apple, you out here saving lives.
Saving lives.
Saving lives. Apple, let's get a sponsorship. We love you. iPhone. Do they sponsor anybody?
Probably not.
Okay.
They be paying their workers, though. I be hearing about it. Mm-hmm. They be paying their workers, though.
No, they do. So Apple really took care of your girl.
So what did you see in when you held the...
He was calling his child's mom a fucking bitch in front of his child.
Okay.
And that was enough for me because that's ghetto shit and I don't have time for that.
Right. And why are you even, like, what are we doing?
And you send me that?
What are we doing?
You sent me that.
Because I could stay out of it for real.
I didn't want to know. So I got to a point where I was like, y'all work that shit out, go to therapy, and me and you can have our own relationship. But the night that I talked to you, that you saw that, before that, he was like, I want to get married, taking me to shop for engagement rings, introducing me to people, all this stuff. And I shut all that down.
Right.
That week, I was like, we're not there.
Because when we talked about it, we talked about some of his actions being to spite her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And so I knew that was that. I was like, right. I think you still love her, and I think you need to work that out. But I love it. I love the things here.
I love it here.
I do love it here. There's a lot of fun elements, and so maybe we should just go back to dating. So it was like, you can't parent with me right now. And we cannot plan a future together. So let's just chill. Don't take me to buy no fucking rings. Don't offer to buy me a car. Offer to buy me a house. And the whole time I'm just like, how am I going to figure out my finances? But God had this, like, all money and good money. And some money puts you in a financial trap. And it just was like, I don't know how to explain it. I was getting thousands of dollars from him, but it was like it was being eaten up. Like, it was the most diabolical thing I've ever experienced. And I'm a super spiritual person. And I think it's because I lost God in the entire situation. Mm-hmm. So fast forward, Miami, we go to Turks. Turks was a great time. But when I was there, I thought about how much I wanted to be there alone. And the actions that he sent, the pictures that he sent me. And I was also thinking about, like, how am I going to get out of this, you know? And when we were in Turks, I let him put some things on my Amex Business Platinum. Hi, American Express. I've been a user since 2016. American Express.
I also am a user.
Yes, I love it because also, like, there were things that I leveled him up in a sense. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's been to 2 countries. I've been to, like, 28 countries. Like, I have lounge access and, like, mileage and all those things. So I'm like, we need to experience, like, this is the lounge, you know, that kind of thing. So we didn't want to upgrade the tickets to first class. So I was like, sure, let's just put it on my Amex because he was paying the bill. And we come back from Turks and we're broke. Like, broke. My rent's not paid. And I'm like, you know, why did we do this trip? And, like, upgrade to first class and go to all these expensive dinners. Like, you know me, Sheena. Like, I love experiences, but you can take me to a little spot on the beach and, like, I'll love that. Mm-hmm. And I was like, why did we do all this? Like, if we were, he was like, don't tell me how to spend my money. And I was like, I understand this is your money, but you're involving me in it now because, you know, you're covering these bills and da 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 da. And that's when the comments about me being lazy started. And today I got a comment from a man that was really like, it was healing after what I went through with him, you know, because that really fucked me up. Like, because I've always been a hustler, a hard worker. I've had a job since I was 9. And it's crazy how someone who you don't even really respect can break you down. You know what I mean? And he started calling me lazy, and really he meant that about the mother of his child. Everything that he would say to me, he meant about the mother of his child because she didn't work and, like, you know, all those different things. And I was like starting to believe him. So that put me in a froze state. And sometimes when you idolize someone to protect and provide for you in the manner that I like allowed him to, like, you do lose God. And so that really fucked with me. You know what I mean? And then Mother's Day rolled around and that was it. So Mother's Day, I'm 2 months behind in rent. I can't go to my dad, who has money. Like, my dad has money and actually bailed me out of all of this shit. Hey, Daddy, shout out to you. I love you, Daddy. Like, honestly, the biggest flex I have as a woman is, like, having a dad that I can actually call and talk to. And, like, talking to my dad about this was hilarious. And I will get there. But Mother's Day, he made this big elaborate plan to have dinner with my aunties and family. And I don't like involving people in my business. I'm an influencer, and y'all think y'all know my business, but y'all have no idea. Like, none. And, like, my family, I really don't want them in my business. So he put me in a spot where we're doing all this elaborate shit. I'm posting it online. So my family, if I come to them and be like, I'm really hit, my car note's behind, my rent is behind, they're like, bitch, you was just in Turks and Caicos eating lobster. Like, what you mean? You're going to get what I mean? Because he isolated me from a lot of people that would normally help me. So needless to say, Mother's Day rolled around, and I kept asking him, do you still want to do this dinner? Like, because my aunties are engaged and, like, involved in it, you know, and the rent isn't paid, and I care about the rent being paid. And he was like, yeah, we're going to do it. We're going to do it because ego, right? Ego is easing God out. So he's like, we're going to do it. We're going to do it. We're going to do it. And so it wasn't until the day before that he told me we actually not going to do it. And so I had to I was like, can you talk to my mom and aunts? And he didn't. He went into, like, a drinking spiral and, like, went away. And my mom was like, how are you going to get out of this? Like, what are we going to do? And I was like, I don't know. And we knew it was going to be bad, but we didn't know how bad, right? So he said to me, well, this is all your fucking fault because your lazy ass ain't been working. And this was from the person who told me to stop working, that I didn't have to worry about it. And at 8 a.m., he told me, I got you. Like, stop tripping. You always crashing out about money. And by 8 p.m., he was like, you're lazy. You need to, this is your fault. Like, why don't you be like regular RNs and just go get a fucking job? And it's like, yo, you know that I've done this and, like, whatever. So needless to say, this was Mother's Day, and June 1st, I was like, all right, I'm going to figure out a plan. Mom never really wanted me around the kids, ever, at all, and I understood why now. I get it. She never wanted me around the kids. And Mom dropped the kids off with him for the summer. Like, we didn't know when she was coming back. And rock star lifestyle, homie. Like, I don't really know if you like me or care if you like me, but good, well done you. Like, I would have done the same thing. Turns out he wasn't paying child support during the time that we were together. Turns out, like, a lot of things were going on, and I just was like, ick. You know what I mean? Later on, I found out these things. But needless to say, at that point, I was like, this is my out. I'm not allowed to be around the kids. The kids are around him. He needs to get custody of the kids. So I called him, and I was like, hey, how long do you have the kids? And he said, for the foreseeable future. And I said, okay, I think it's best that we put a pause in things, like put a pin in things. You should get some therapy. You and her should get some therapy, and, like, maybe arrange some type of custody arrangement. And then me and you can, I really thought we was going to be able to maybe spin the block, right? Like, I was like, maybe. And he was like, wow, you're breaking up with me because I'm a good dad. You fucking love deadbeats, you dumbass bitch. Fuck you. Hangs up. And so I'm like, that was the first time he experienced rejection from me. So I was like, oh shit. Next thing I know, I look on Instagram and people are texting me and he is going off about me. Monique Dowdy, I am nurse mode. This person likes deadbeats, da 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 da. And I had my brother contact him and say, like, chill out. You get what I mean? So my brother contacts him. He chills out. I'm left with $7,500 in unpaid bills and rent. I should have gotten evicted, but because I have an amazing family, I didn't. And nobody shamed me like, you dumbass bitch, why would you move into this high-ass place? You know, whatever. And this was the first time I really had to go to my family to like really bail me out. And my dad was just kind of like, what happened? You know, like, how did this happen? And I explained to him and he was just like, was he short? And I know it sounds silly, but he was like, you know, like a lot of times short men really overcompensate, you know, for this. And I'm not trying to be funny or bash short men in any way, but I'm letting the girls out there know, like, we're going to keep it a buck. And I'm short. I'm 5'1". So my dad gave me a lecture and he just was like, leave these scrubs alone and check your cash app, baby girl.
I know that's the fuck right.
Literally, you know, so my mom helped me a lot. My dad helped me a lot. And I just felt like getting out of that lease was so stressful because he left me about like 75 racks in the hole. So I took a job in psych when we broke up. I didn't give a fuck. I was like, I'll clean toilets. I got this nursing degree, we're going to use it. And towards the end of the relationship, I got the job and he had stopped paying for things once I got the job because he was like, I know you're just going to switch up on me as soon as you get your shit together. And that was a constant mantra for him, the entire relationship. So I got the job and it was at a psych facility in Philadelphia with no guards, none. No metal detectors, nothing. And I was always safe. And I was always able to really de-escalate the men. I worked with aggressive, violent men. And they knew me. You know what I mean? They knew me for that. Like, and so it was so baffling to me that I had this encounter with a man. So one night I'm on my way to work. And I get a call from the baby mom. This is when it gets good. And I have been wanting to talk to her the whole relationship. Because, you know, me and my baby moms, like, are cool. Like, we started a business together and everything. I'm a girl's girl, women's girl. So I'm like, I need to know. Talking to an ex can tell you a lot. Like, it really can. And I encourage more women and men to talk to each other's exes. Like, if it should be okay. So needless to say, she calls me and she's like, oh my gosh, he had given me a phone. And so she's like, here's the phone, you know, da 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 da. Like, oh, I'm sorry, I've been trying to reach out to him. Because during that time period where he crashed out, talked about me on social media, the first time, he blocked me. So I couldn't communicate with him, like, at all. So she's like, he just blocked me. I'm trying to get in touch with him to do something with the kids. And I was like, oh, girl, I'm done with him. It's a wrap. Like, so she was like, I heard congratulations. And I was like, that told me everything I needed to know. So we had a mutual friend. I told the mutual friend, and the mutual friend, thinking that he was sane, was like, what the fuck? Why do you have her baby mom calling, da 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 da? And I'm like, girl, don't even worry about it. He calls me when I'm on my way to work. This is July 15th, right? A whole month later of him not communicating with me, talking to me, anything. And I answer, and he's like, I heard my baby mom called you, da 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 da. And I'm like, is that why you're calling me? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, oh, it's not about the fact that I almost got evicted. It's not about you defaming me, like, none of that, like, online. Like, it's not to apologize. It's about her, the reason we both broke up. And he's like, yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean it like that. And I just hung up. So then he starts texting me. And he's like, I miss you. Can I come see you? Can I come to your job? And I'm like, something was like, no. And then it was like, can I give you money? Can I buy you flowers? Can I do this? Can I do that? Can I do this? Can I do that? And it was all like, intuition said no. And the conversation within 12 hours on a 12-hour shift, me working a 12-hour shift with 13 aggressive male patients, went from, I love you, I want to do nasty things to you, to, bitch, I'm going to kill you and your son. And then he televised the whole thing on social media, put everything online, bought guns, showed that he was buying guns. Like, it was really bad. I had to get a restraining order. And it was all because he asked me, was I seeing anyone? And I said yes. Well, first I didn't even say I was seeing anybody. It was nothing. And it was, you whore, I know you're seeing someone. You bitch, I know you're seeing someone. And it just got bad and bad and bad. And, you know, I heard from him after that. And it was like, I'm really sorry. It was letters. It was apologizing. And then it would always flip. And I've been able to block him on every platform except my computer. And he's popped back in. And during my fast, it's been like, during this time of fasting, because that was back in July. And I haven't seen him since. I hadn't seen him since May. And July was kind of like the roughest month of my life, because it was like I had to show up for other people who were psychotic, like clinically ill. And I just thought, wow, at least these men want to get better. You get what I mean? Like, at least these men want to get better. And like, there were things that I struggled with, depression, anxiety, things like that he brought up during our arguments and thought was funny. He told me he hoped I got T-boned on my way home tonight. He hoped that someone choked me out. One of my male patients choked me the fuck out. That Soul, no wonder Soul was bad the way he is, because he ain't got no daddy. Like, all these things that were just like so painful and hurtful when you trusted someone. And I think the worst part of all of it for me was that I involved my child in this bullshit. Yeah. Like, I put my baby at danger.
Okay.
And my kids still ask about him. And it's like, and I hid that from him. You get what I mean? I had to talk to my son's school, like, make sure this person don't come. Yeah. It was so stressful.
Yeah, but Mo, let's take a minute.
Yes.
Okay, let's take a minute, okay? Because, as moms, we're doing our best sometimes, and not all the time can we foresee every little way that things can go, okay? At the time, you felt like this person was a healthy person to have around your child, right? When you realized that it wasn't, you shifted. And I'm proud of you for the way that you shifted and you moved. And once you realized that it was unsafe, you moved.
Yeah.
No. Hold on. It is okay to take accountability. You took accountability for where you went wrong. You took accountability for the ways in which that you could have avoided some of this happening. But you cannot act as though you're just like this person is supposed to avoid any problems in life. This is life. Shit's gonna happen. And Soul will be fine, and Soul will know that he has a healthy mother.
Soul is fucking clueless.
Soul is clueless. But Mo, the things that you're going through now will make you have a better experience going forward. You're experiencing this now when he's younger. So then in the future, now you can make those better decisions, and now you know what to look for. I just really hate how we go into situations and we're so judgmental, like, oh, she should have known, because if it was me, da-da-da. No, it's really just not you. And from that place, that's why I always tried to make a place for you where you felt comfortable to come to me and talk to me, because we're not about to do that. I told you, hold yourself accountable, bitch. Stand the fuck up.
All right, let me pick
Stand the fuck up, bitch. Like, it ain't but so much that
I'm not gonna lie though, it made me freeze.
Yeah, and as it should. You deserve the freeze. You needed a freeze. But it doesn't mean that you didn't learn from your mistakes and move on. We're not going to sit there and be like, woe is me, I'm a bad mom, or I did this, or I didn't do this right. Nah, we all be doing shit, bitch. Yeah. We all be having moments. You were experiencing a high level experience that you felt like was something that you deserved at the time, coming from living in the goddamn jungle. I bet 4 Seasons sounded nice.
It was real cute.
And he gave you everything that you thought that you wanted at the time. And as women, as someone who's dated for love and not gotten what she wanted for so long, it's very understandable about how somebody flashing shiny things in front of you and also being very nice. He was nice.
Really nice.
He was nice. He was sweet. He wasn't a bad guy in the beginning. That shit shifted over time. So we're not going to act like he was like this monster that just threw money. No, he was also very fucking nice, very sweet. He was a good guy. And then over time, shit changed. So we're going to stand the fuck up.
And getting over 5,000 via Apple Pay, like, just really does something
to your psyche.
To your psyche.
So with that,
and someone showing up with groceries and shit for your diapers and shit for your.
But with that.
When your baby daddy never bought you Pampers,
it's just so sexy. It's just
it was very attractive.
But I really want to get into the mental health of it all, okay? Because I think that when it comes down to it, a lot of us are dealing with men that, sometimes should be seeing a therapist or some type of mental health counselor. He needed to be 302'd.
Yeah. I'm not even trying to be funny. Like, I wanted to get him 302'd, and what made me the saddest was that men need outlets.
Yeah.
Y'all need outlets. Like, the issue with this man is not that he's a bad person. It's not that he's a monster. None of that. Like, what I see in the night, right, is someone who is carrying a huge burden of finances, bills, kids, mom, baby mom, all of the things, and nowhere to put it.
Right.
Like, you
It
know,
build up in him
and that's
and he
something that I
snaps.
think that women and men should look for in each other when we're
Yeah.
dating is like, what are your outlets? That should be a question more than like, what's your financial status or anything like that. Like, what is your outlets? Do you play basketball? Do you go to therapy? Do you do poetry? Do you throw darts? Like, you need somewhere to put that. And I think that's a big aspect of mental health. And, you know, working in the mental health field while dealing with this, I'm grateful. Because it was like, this is mental illness. This is not just a relationship thing.
And it can cause mental illness.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, like I said, in my situation, when I left my partner at the time, a lot of the things that I was dealing with in terms of mental health didn't show up for me until after I left. Because you start to feel like, damn, like I made these decisions. I'm one of those people that holds myself highly accountable. He can be a piece of shit and can and is. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't change the fact that I chose that piece of shit. I put myself there. I ignored things because I loved him. And again, still having grace for myself, but still understanding that I chose that. So I think that with that being said, it's really time for our 7 medical minutes. I think we need to really dive into how we medically gonna make this make sense.
Yes. Again.
All right, so we're here with our 7 medical minutes. And okay, so traumatic story. I kind of after my divorce, I kind of crashed out. I passed out at a restaurant and had a seizure. Okay.
That's not a crash out. That's a code.
Yeah.
It's a medical code.
No, it really was. And I woke up on my friend's boobs and I had no idea where I was or my name. She's like asking me my name and I'm just laying on her boobs like,
Was it Kate?
No.
Oh, dang.
It was one of my other friends. And she's like, and the paramedics come in, they're like, what's your name? And I'm like, ha, ha, ha. And then while I was on the ground, I realized that what was going on because he was coming towards me with like stuff. And I said, hold on, did I just call motherfuckers? Hold on.
Wait,
so
did you need shock pads?
No,
Okay.
I was fine. But when I realized, because, I was after a seizure, I was confused. So when I realized what was going on, I completely panicked. I was like, oh my God, did I just, what happened? Blah, blah, blah. I say all this to say, this was a couple months after I really cut off things. Actually, a month after I cut off things with my ex. And I want women to understand that when you are in unhealthy relationships, it is not just an unhealthy relationship and a mental thing. Your body will snap on you and tell you, hey, what you guys going on? You know what I'm saying? Because what was happening to me at that point had been happening to me for months. Mm-hmm. Come to find out I had hyperthyroid, right? And it came from stress and what I was dealing with. And I'm not blaming him for me being in that situation because I put myself there, okay? I chose him. Let's keep it accountable. But I will say that some of the ways that I was treated and the things that I went through contributed to me ultimately being sick, right? And as soon as I wiped that slate clean and started over, I felt better. So I really want women out there to understand that your mental health connects with your physical health, connects to your soul health, and connects with your spirit and your relationship with God and others. So we're not gonna act like it's just one dimensional.
1 second. I know that 85% of our audience is women, but I would like to address the 15% of men.
The men's too.
And let them know that every illness, including diabetes, right, hypertension, some cancers, the underlying factor is stress. And this is from an ICU nurse with 10 years of experience.
Okay, what's your glasses? You fine as hell.
But no, I'm serious right now.
Okay.
Being credentialed.
Okay, all right.
All right.
You gotta say something more. You just said okay.
Okay, but no, seriously, it's really important for both men and women to understand that an unhealthy relationship or a relationship that's causing you stress, especially one that is a smear campaign is going on, like the one that I spoke about, where you're receiving public shame and embarrassment and all these different things, it impacts your physical and mental health. So one of my greatest resources and one of the things that got me out of this is, you guys, I love AI tools. And those of you who are afraid of AI tools, please don't be. There are more and more mental health apps taking place. But I told y'all one of the things that got me out of this relationship was I was putting our text messages into ChatGPT, and they were telling me that this person is a sociopath or like has narcissistic personality disorder. And that led me to my therapist. I've worked with the same therapist for 4 years because at this point I feel like I would have to do like a slideshow of my trauma for to like catch someone up. And like I don't want to do that. But I found her on Therapy for Black Girls in the pandemic, and I have cursed her out before, like, bitch, fuck you and everything, because like we have that relationship. And having a culturally competent therapist, one who understands like your socioeconomic issues, your racial issues, like is key. So one of the websites I love is Therapy for Black Girls. The other thing you can do is ask your healthcare provider, or the 1-800 number on the back of your insurance card. You can ask them to help you find a Black or brown therapist to align with your needs.
Yeah. And I think that one thing that we think is a lot of people be like, oh, well, I don't need therapy. My girlfriends are my therapist. My mom, my dad, people around you are therapists. You have to understand that these people went to school for a reason. That's number one. Number two, you have to understand that most of the time, what therapy provided me after my largest breakup I've ever had was someone who I could tell anything to and had an unbiased response that didn't know me or know them, right? And that person was able to hold me accountable and be like, what are we doing? Like, and honestly, they don't be saying nothing but asking you questions. And the answer to your questions be making you be like, oh.
My therapist's a little different. She threatened to fire me, like, during that time period.
Fire you?
Yes. She was like, look, like, she asked me the question, was this shortcut worth it?
Ooh.
That's
a question, though.
She said, was this shortcut worth it? And I was like, girl, fuck out of here. Like, I don't have time for this. I crashed out on the therapist and was like, I feel like you have me messed up. I'm done with you. And she was just like, was it worth it or no? And I was like, it wasn't.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that just like you said, in terms of like the resources that are around us, using them and just being mindful that like, don't assume that you can't afford therapy. There's ways, there's health insurance, everything else, but also just keeping in mind, like being present with yourself and really understanding yourself before you step into these spaces.
100%. And also finding outlets like we talked about, walking, running, groups, community, church, like, artistry, different things like that. And don't be afraid to go to the doctor to get an actual assessment, like a full set of labs, check your cortisol levels, etc., because this all impacts your physical health. We love you, Bookies, and we mean it. We want you to be well out here.
So go and be well. Okay, so we're back from our 7 medical minutes, and you know what? I think that even though this episode is called The Crash Out, I think that we talked a lot about dating from a place of lack and where that can take you, you know? And I just want to tell the ladies out there and just the people out there, because this is not a female podcast, for the fellas, thank you, okay? We just want to say that we all have things that we lack in ourselves. We feel like we're lacking it. Because sometimes it's a perspective. You're really not lacking it. It's all in your head. But I think that we have to just sometimes make sure that we're filling our own cup before we necessarily go out looking for somebody else to fill it. Because your lack, is it real? Is it real? And if it is real, how can you fill it yourself instead of going out trying to look for it and possibly putting yourself in dangerous or unhealthy situations because you're trying to fix something? You know what I mean?
And I also think you should figure out if the lack is from you or from society or from others.
Yeah, where's it coming from?
Because truly, when I met him, I was really happy. Like, I was in a good place financially, mentally, but per society, I should have more.
Right.
And if that conversation I had with that gentleman who was my mentee that said, hey, nobody wants to hear your story until you have this.
Right.
If I didn't internalize that, I don't think that would have became my reality so much. So sometimes society, life, media will throw something as that is your reality, that's your truth, and it's not.
Right.
So it's okay to like throw it away and be like, that's not for me.
Right.
And like, the truth is, I really like being a single mom. I fuck with it. I think it's really hot and like badass. You know what I mean? And like, I live in a fly ass apartment with a 500 square foot rooftop that I manifested. And like, it makes me feel like a badass when I'm dropping my fly ass son off at school and all the single dads are looking at me like, damn, you know what I mean? Like, it's hot. Like, I like it.
You know, none of us choose to be a single mom. Like, no one is choosing to be a single mom. But we're just saying, now that we're here, okay, we're going to ball out.
We're going to ball out. We're going to do it. We're going to do it. We're going to fuck it up. We're going to fuck it up.
So let's get into our scripture and our prayer because, you know, we lead with God first. Okay. So Isaiah 61:7. Instead of your shame, you will receive a double portion. Okay? And instead of disgrace, you will rejoice in your inheritance. And so you will inherit a double portion in your land, and everlasting joy will be yours. Take us to it, Mo.
Okay. Can everybody take a deep breath in? Everybody listening out there, and hold and release. Dear God, we come to you humbly, thanking you for another day of air in our lungs and life in our bodies. We just thank you for this time, space, reality. We thank you for this existence. We thank you for everything that has tried to ruin us, God, that has made us stronger. Everything that has tried to make us hard has made us more soft and more loving and more buttery, God. We just are so grateful that we get to experience the joy that you bring to us. We thank you for all of the mud that you put us through so that we can come out and rinse it all off and be nice and clean, God. We thank you for all of the blessings that you hold from us for a little bit of time so that we can appreciate them more, God. And we just appreciate you for accepting us, loving us, and continuing to forgive us regardless of our mistakes and teaching us that there really are no mistakes as long as we choose you, God. God, I thank you for healing me from addiction, God. God, I thank you for getting me out of a toxic relationship, God. And I thank you for bringing me back into your light and wrapping me in your protection, God. And all of your grace, amen.
Amen. Jesus.
And thank you for my new crib, God.
Hey! Oh, and thank you for our first 3 followers on Instagram.
Hey! We love you. We love you.
All right, y'all. So y'all know, now we have Instagram, we have Twitch, we have TikTok, and we, the YouTube thing. And it's Make It Enough Podcast. Make it ENUF Podcast, okay? Email us, makeitenoughdpodcast@gmail.com. Your stories, your comments, anything that you want us to talk about, put it on there so we can talk about it, okay?
Twitch. We're Twitchers now. We're going to be, this is where you'll see like the raw, unfiltered stuff.
More of this.
Yeah, and we're just being real. If it doesn't work out, we're going to start an OnlyFans. Love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye. See ya.